Seems that I was... Wow. Alright. Oh god, please give me strength. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I had a chat yesterday with a friend about an argument in her family, and I sat down ready to listen. I got curious, but not because I cared about how she felt, but because I wanted to talk her into a better way to be with her son. I wanted to highlight how silly their arguments are, and how years are passing by and the things that they want to say are not being said. And death is getting closer for everyone. And it's such a shame to wait for that in order to connect with each other. While I was listening, I immediately started to judge. And I felt an urge to let her know that she's deluded. But more and more I realized that I was wrong. She wasn't deluded. That was her reality. It seems that I was expecting to catch her in the wrong and show her that she's a nutcase. I realized that I had two realities from two different people, and they were both true. So I became aware that whatever she was saying was valid, as much as what he was saying was valid as well. Basically, within my awareness, there wasn't one truth more valid than the other one. So, who's the one that holds the truth in an argument? Is it one truth or two? Assuming that none of the people are lying willingly, I believe both parties have a point. Is their point fair, kind, or generous? Perhaps not. But that doesn't take away that both of the people have their point. So, why do people argue? One person disagrees with the other person's belief or action and vice versa. And that's perfectly normal and healthy. Things start to fall apart when humans allow these arguments to ruin their relationships. How many times have you had an argument and ended up hugging each other after that? Not too many times, I would assume. So what is it about arguments that leaves us somehow disconnected from each other? I would say it's pride. It seems to me that whenever we allow our ego to dictate our interactions, we end up losing the connection with the other person, with the world, and ultimately with ourselves. So how can arguments result in a better, stronger connections with each other rather than separation? Getting curious. Like I previously stated, when in an argument, my brain is really quick and alert to catch the other person in the wrong, so I can use their words against them to finally be right and win the argument. You might say, oh well, so what's the point of an argument if not to win your way? Well, I believe that arguments are useful to find out another point of view of the world that you were not aware of and learn from it. Because what's the use to look at the world only from my perspective? Imagine a world that will have only your beliefs. How would that look? Now, you might say, oh Helen, but if everyone would believe in veganism, the world would be a better place. Perhaps, but most likely not. What I'm saying that there is no solution to fix them all. Precisely that's why we have such a variety of points of view and thoughts. And they're all valid, believe it or not. Okay, so how do getting curious in an argument can result in a better and stronger connection with each other? Instead of spending all our focus and energy to win an argument, how about getting curious about each other's experience? If someone is not prepared with lies to argue with, I think everyone is worth listening to. Because whatever they have to say, it is as valid as what you have to say, no matter the circumstances. From the most innocent child to the worst criminal, every argument has a point and it's valid. Note that I didn't say that their actions are fair or moral or humane or kind, but their experience of life, their reason behind their actions, their arguments are true. So let's not confuse the nature of a choice with the experience of one's being when taking the action. Does that make any sense? So, leaving aside the criminals for this particular piece of content, let's focus on how to avoid being disconnected when arguing with the people you care the most. When you're ready to leave your ego aside and you're ready to think your relationship through, sit down and ask yourself these questions. Why do you end up fighting with your loved ones? Can you reckon when these types of events trigger? Who is the person that reacts first? Who is the person that has the last thing to say? What is the part of their beliefs that irritates you the most? What is it that you're trying to convince them about? So next time when your family is driving you crazy, stop and breathe. Instead of fighting to convince them about your truth, how about asking them questions? I believe that the same set of questions can be used on your partner as well. Remember that you now know that your partner is in a reactive state, which means they're driven by the ego or their inner child. So the order of questions can have a great impact. Being aware of one's reactivity puts you in an advantage, not to win, but to settle this down and make it better for both of you. What I found was that when people are in a reactive state, giving them the voice is the best approach. Instead of trying to talk over them like you usually would do in an argument, this time, while getting curious, you give them that voice that they've always wanted. Let's think about it. When we raise our voice, we don't do it just because we like it. We do it because we want to be heard. Give them a voice and turn your reactivity into curiosity. Start about, what about this irritates you the most? Can you please make me understand where you're coming from? And their ego is going to love this. They're going to go on and on and on about how wrong you are and how bad this feels for them. Hold your horses. Do not react. Your ego is going to be keen to judge as well, but you're going to be able to catch yourself wanting to fight back. After they finish telling you how wrong you are and how bad it feels for them, you can continue with the questions that make the most sense in that moment. Always keep your partner in mind rather than yourself. Avoid using the word I as much as you can, and all the questions should be about them, not you. As a side note, depending on each other's character, which I'm going to talk about it in another video, people stress in different ways. Some get angry, some can get sad, and some get anxious. It is important to spot how your partner reacts to stress and emphasize that word when asking your questions. For example, what about this makes you sad? Or what about this makes you angry? What about this makes you feel anxious? Please keep in mind that most of the people are not even aware about how they feel. Because in every argument, everyone's busy to knock each other down. So no one tends to ask questions. Questions can make you think and look inwards rather than outwards. So asking them questions are going to help you discover things that you were never aware of before. And that can also help them find out how they truly feel. Thinking is what takes us out of our reactive state. And that makes us find solutions to problems rather than reacting to them. The point of all these questions are not for you to agree with your partner or to change your point of view, but to get outside of your own world and see the world from another perspective. The point of these questions are for you to grow, because this is going to be one of the most challenging things you've ever done. In the end, you don't want your group to have all copies of you. You want to have a variety of minds and opinions. And what's even more important about this, that you're not going to end up slamming the door and leave embittered or frustrated after this type of interaction with someone. But you're going to build stronger, long-lasting relationships, which ultimately are going to enrich your days and soul. Does that make any sense? I really hope that this gave you an insight and provided value to better relationships. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.